Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the nervous system. So what do you mean by nervous system? This is the amazing system in our body that controls everything from how we move to how we think to how we feel, and I'll break it down in such simpler way that you won't find any difficulty in remembering. You'll understand each and every topic what I'm going to teach now, okay? So we'll be starting with nervous system. So the first part, what does come in nervous system? Nervous system is basically, as I said, it is your brain, spinal cord controlling your body, how you feel, how you react, and everything. So we'll first take the part brain. You can see a wonderful brain ka diagram here. So what does come in brain? So basically there are three parts in brain. So the first part will be forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain. So what do you mean by forebrain? Is basically your cerebrum, hypothalamus, and thalamus. So now what do you mean by that? So basically there is a term written here: body temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, and breathing. So the first term, the body temperature. So there is a part of brain called as hypothalamus in forebrain, which is basically controlling your body temperature. You have to just remember this. Then comes the midbrain. So what does midbrain do? Midbrain is basically for a visual reflexes, your motor signals, and also it does work of relaying movement for relaying signals for body movement and sensations. Basically, is what your midbrain does. And the second and the last thing is basically your hindbrain. So what does come in hindbrain is basically your cerebellum, pons, and medulla. So I'll just explain what is this. So first, so you can see a word here about walking. Okay, so basically your body balance while walking is what cerebellum does to your body. Is basically balances your body while you walk, while you talk, etc. So when you drink alcohol, which I don't recommend you guys should drink, but it is the part of brain that imbalances and which causes the ada theta movement when you walk. Okay, so basically your cerebellum is affected when you are in the influence of alcohol. And the last two parts are pons and medulla oblongata. There is a word written in breathing. So basically how much should you breathe, how much should you exhale, how much should you inhale is all controlled by what thing? Pons and the medulla oblongata, which are part of your hindbrain. Okay, so then we'll be studying about also central nervous system. So I'll just explain what is central nervous system. Basically central nervous system is your brain, spinal cord, and the peripheral nerves. And why do you need peripheral nerves? Is basically you have a whole long body and your brain is just at the top part. So a mode of communication right from your legs up to the brain is basically what peripheral nerves are doing. Is basically sending your signals from any part of body to brain and from brain to any part of body. So you can just read here, give it a read. Brain, spinal cord, and the peripheral nerves make up a complex integrated information processing and control center known as the central nervous system. They regulate all conscious and unconscious facets of life. And why is it written conscious and unconscious? I'll explain you in the next part. I'm going to teach you. So the scientific study of brain nervous system is called neuroscience, neurobiology, and you would have heard key you go to neurologist. And what is neurologist? Is basically a doctor treating your brain is neurologist. Neuro is basically brain and logy is basically study of your brain. The brain functions receive nerve impulses from spinal cord and cranial nerves. The spinal cord contains a nerve that carry messages between the brain and the body, as I have explained you earlier. So I hope you guys understood about the central nervous system. So now I'll just talk to you regarding the peripheral nervous system. What is peripheral nervous system? Is basically, see, I would start explaining with what comes in peripheral nervous system. So peripheral nervous system is, first thing is somatic nervous system, and the second thing is autonomic. So see, now you have skeletal muscles in your body. Let me take an example. So the thing is ki when you tell when the brain tells your skeletal muscle to get control, to move, etc. So that is basically a somatic nervous system. that are voluntary controls are controlled by the somatic nervous system. And what do you see? The peripheral nervous system includes our peripheral nerves. It connects the central nervous system to organs, muscles, body, as I said, and regulates all the purposeful and reflex actions. The peripheral controls organs, muscles like skin, blood vessels, etc. And the second thing which I told you was the autonomic nervous system. What do you understand by the word autonomic? Is basically it functions on itself. So let's say now you guys will be knowing कि you don't have to tell your heart to beat, tell your stomach to digest, tell your intestine to absorb water, absorb nutrients, etc. So these bodily functions are coordinated by their own. Okay, so this comes in the autonomic nervous system. So basically मोटा मोटा मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि CNS to our involuntary body parts is your autonomic nervous system. So you can give it a read. The organs, the viscera of a body such as heart, stomach, intestines are regulated by a part of nervous system called autonomic. So you just keep in mind the word autonomic. The ANS is a part of peripheral nervous system, controls many organs, muscles within the body in situations we are unaware about workings, functions AC, involuntary reflexive manner. For example, we do not have to notice when blood vessels change the size when a heart beats faster. So it is as simple as that. Or it itself says कि auto is basically self-controlling and it will be self-controlling throughout. So you can also check here. It functions independently on central nervous system. You don't have to tell it to function, such as control eye, heart, breathing, temperature, blood pressure, stomach, intestine, bladder, urinary output, sweating glands, flight response, and the reaction to stress. And this is basically your diagram of, you will be knowing this is a neuron. And what does neuron mean? Neuron is basically your structural and functional unit of brain. So you guys might have heard about cell. Cell is the functional and structural unit of the whole body. What a type of cell is a neuron, and neuron is a structural and functional unit of the brain. So that's it for today. So this was the nervous system. And if you guys have any kind of doubt, please drop in the comment section. I would be sharing notes of this because I have told some different terms which I haven't written now, but I would be sharing this in my description, so don't worry. And next video will begin with the respiratory system and the circulatory system. I thank you once again for coming to my channel. I hope you stay with me throughout and hope all your doubts of human performance get cleared. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.